We're on air. This always gets me because I'm never sure when we're on air. It's getting clearer now. Okay, it's Martin here from Ealing, Hammersmith and West London College with the BluAcro group. I think you all laughed when I got the name wrong last week. Hopefully I've got it right now. It's such a good name that I shouldn't really forget it either. So I've got my blue top on actually. I see Oliver's gone all yellow in honour. But okay, we're going to have a quick summary. Each one's going to tell briefly what we've been up to, and then Ollie from Blue's going to introduce himself and sort of free form it, talking about Google, Chromium, and stuff. Okay, Jam. Okay, you're at the college. Actually, you've got a good sharp image of the two of you this week. But it's interesting that you two are in college, everybody else is spread around the country. And I think you've probably got the worst bandwidth and connection because you're in the college, but we'll see how it goes. Dan, would you want to talk about what we are doing?
We are currently testing an open source web-based operating system, which is the Chromium OS. It is the one that ChromeOS was using ChromeOS, which is used in Chromebooks, and now we're currently testing it out through the college. So,
okay, what's the advantages of Chromium?
What's the advantages of the OS?
Oh, the advantages it's fast booting, and it automatically saves the data. The documents that you're doing, it automatically saves it on the internet, and everything is cloud-based, so you can access it everywhere as long as you have internet.
Yeah, that's one of the cool things about it. Yeah, we come back to some of the advantages. Action.
Hi.
Right, what we're going to do next week?
Oh yeah, we're gonna get some more machines in the staff room, and we're gonna install Chromium in there, and we're gonna let the staff experience the Chromium, and we're gonna get some feedback from that.
That's cool because we've already put some machines in the staff in the student room, and now we're going
the learning center.
Yeah, that's right, in the learning center. That's right, actually. And now we're going to sort of try and develop the staff, because of course it's the staff that teach the students next year. Two-pronged attack maybe on this one, students and staff together. Clifford.
Hello.
Your creative brain has somehow come up with these left field names out of the blue somehow. Blue. You're responsible for the name of the group, BluAcro. If I got it right. I keep getting this Argo. I think it's some association in my head about blue and the Argo Sea or something. I'm not sure, but I keep calling it BluArgo for some reason. But BluAcro. So I asked the group to do a press release yesterday. And I was expecting us to put it out on Monday, but Clifford had kind of knocked it into shape within hours, and it was ready to go. So we're ready to start forward. What's the press release? What's it called, and what information about the press release? Clifford.
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. You're kind of breaking up.
Well, not again. I'm having a breakdown again. Actually, my power's going. I realised I haven't switched myself on. That helped. Right, okay. I'm not sure if that's responsible, but yeah, I'm losing power. Okay. Clifford.
Hello.
You're responsible for the name of the group, BluAcro, and I asked you to do a press release yesterday. Well, the group to do a press release yesterday, and you took it on and wrote it in a couple of hours, and I thought it might take a couple of days. So, explain about the press release, what you're calling the experience and things like that.
The event is called Chromefarium, and got a problem. We got a problem here.
Hello. We'll come back to you then, Clifford. Let's come back to you. Are you alright?
Yeah, I'm just having a bit of problems here. Don't worry, I'll sort it out later.
Technical problems with some other device in your room, by the sound of it. So, Chromium, what? When is it? Where is it? And what we're going to be doing?
Chromium will take place in the Hammersmith campus, and oh god,
What day?
I'm stuck.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know. You're working a different way because you come up with the creative juices, don't you? You come up with the names. I don't know. You have one of these brains that sort of connects things together in a different way to other people, and some very creative ideas. But yeah, Clifford's the one that came up with the name, and for the press release, and he wrote it yesterday. It's on the staff portal already, Clifford. So that's cool. Right, Amit, before we get to Oliver, who's changing colour by the minute, and has been waiting patiently. Amit,
Yeah.
Amit's just joined us this week. So we started with 2, now we've got 4. I kept thinking this is almost like an open source project where people can come and join and stuff. And Amit's brought some interesting new skills. I was thinking this might be like these ideas you get a 21st century organisation where all separate consultants working together in a loosely organised entity rather than traditional companies with hierarchies. Amit, what was your idea about what you can do with publicity?
Martin, you're kind of cutting out there, man. I can't hear you.
Again, man. This must be. I think I got flat with my mic. I can hear you loud and clear. Amit, what are you going to bring into the project, do you think, this next week?
I still can't hear you, man.
Can anybody else hear me? Hands up.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Project, I think.
The 3D thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What I was planning? Okay, I noticed that a lot of organizations tend to use 3D graphics to put their point across, provide or what they're going to be doing with their projects. So I was thinking maybe we could sort of incorporate the same thing. I have recently learned how to use some of the 3D modeling and animating software that's out there. So I was thinking for the blog part or for the advertising bit that we've got for our webpage, we could make use of that to sort of put a bit of a point across as to what Chromium can do and things like that. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, I was saying, rather cheesily, that adds a new dimensions, isn't it? We'll see what that'd be quite good. Yeah, if you have webpage 3D rotating images or something like that. Maybe you could take Cliff. Maybe you could take. I'll have to shout if you can't hear me. Maybe you'll have to take Clifford's. Well, I'm going to use the word bastardise. Oh, I do that too. Bastardise Google logo and
Yeah.
rotate it. Oh yeah, you know what I'm talking about. And Clifford has done something with the Google logo, which I'm not sure people would like. But and maybe you could rotate it, etc. Anyway, Oliver.
Hi.
You've been waiting, and now you're all blue, and that's I love it. Oh, change of colour scheme. How did you do that? Would you want to introduce yourself and talk about what you do and about Chromium and stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you very much, first of all, for inviting me. It's, as you know from our previous visit, it's lovely to sort of see the technology and the way you're using it, guys, across the board. I'm really interested, obviously, myself, being I'm a bit of a specialist when it comes down to software and hardware. And my job at the moment, so what I do is I create training material and support OEMs, resellers, schools and individuals with all Google products if I can, whatever needs to be done. At the moment my focus is with the Chromebooks and Android in the education sector. So I originally started with the Chromebook and at the retail stage when we first launched in the UK. So I've seen it sort of progress, and I'm a bit of a geek all round.
You gave a very good description of the difference between. You had to correct me on Monday because I was getting it all wrong. Between Chromium and ChomeOS.
So did we all understand the difference between what Chromium OS is and what Chrome OS is?
For the most part, yeah.
Do you see the difference between so something like the Chromium project? Has been going a very, very long time, and it's mainly a sort of a code base for an open source sort of project. So it's where people can come and sort of modify and change Chrome code. Whereas the ChomeOS, which is what the Chromebooks run, is a Google product that OEMs can ship on their Chromebooks for general use. So ChomeOS contains a lot more features that aren't in Chromium. So just to make that clear, that the Chrome project is almost like a test ground for a lot of the ChomeOS stuff. So things like verified boot, which is when your Chromebook checks its operating system when it starts up. Things like the easy recovery, which Chromebooks do in case there is any problems whatsoever. Things like 3G support, Adobe Flash, Netflix, and stuff like that. None of those are actually supported in Chromium. They're only supported in ChromeOS. And there's talk about like WebRTC and stuff like that coming over into Chromium, but at the moment that has to be reserved for the ChomeOS. So it's a very, very interesting operating system you guys are working with. And as you know, I'm very excited to hear how it all goes. So I guess it's sort of like a little 101 in Chrome and ChromeOS. I can't really talk to you about Chromium because obviously it's a test ground. It's an open platform and will change as we're speaking. But ChromeOS and Chromebooks, which is what sort of come from those, they're kind of like the finished project, if you like, and what the developers were aiming for. And every so often we'll get things brought over from the Chromium project and put into ChromeOS. And obviously ChromeOS is also supported not just by Google, but by all Google's partners as well. So you get that benefit as well. So things like the auto-updating within ChromeOS, the idea behind the operating system was to make it sort of quick. We call it speedy, we call it simple, and we call it secure. It's probably the quickest operating system because it's continually quick. It's quick after 18 months as well. It's probably the simplest because you don't have to do anything to it. It updates itself. It's always fresh. It's always new. And you don't need to worry about things like installing programs and making sure your registry is here and defragging disks. It doesn't require any of that anymore. And we've moved all that to one side and dealt with it in a very sort of intelligent way. We've also added a higher level of security than you've probably ever seen before on most operating systems, coming from the hardware side as well. So the fact you won't need a virus program of any kind because nothing ever gets installed on the machine. That's where most of your problems will come. Your slowdown will come from there, your fragmentation will come from there, and also your problems with viruses will come from there as well. So the operating system doesn't rely on programs inside the OS, it relies on web applications. These are simply web pages that do stuff, and you'll probably view some of these if you think about things like Facebook or YouTube. They're not on your device, they're all up in the cloud. And that's where they stay, and they function better up there because you can hold more data, it's quicker to access, and it's much safer because you're not bringing stuff down. So again, adding on that level of security, because nothing's on the device, it doesn't really matter if the device is lost or stolen or broken. There's nothing on it to lose or steal or break. And you can simply move and log into another device of any kind you wish and see all your stuff. And as mentioned earlier on, we're talking about working in the cloud, which makes your stuff always accessible everywhere you go. Rather like your email, you can access it on your mobile phone and you can access it on your computer. That's not because it's on both, it's because it's on neither, and they both connect to where it should be. So it's a very unique way of working. We've sort of flipped the PC world on its head, if you like, and started to work in a more sensible way. So that's kind of where I am. I've been looking forward to hearing on a weekly or maybe monthly basis of how Martin's been getting on with his team. Have you got any questions?
Actually, anybody got any questions for Oliver about what he does, how he got to Google, what it's like to work with Google? Anybody?
I could answer that for you if you want. The job is always varied, as you know. I kind of work along the same channel all the time, so I'll always be working with the EDU side, but I could be doing crazy things. One day I could be showing a group of kids around for a design idea. the next day I could be visiting the Netherlands and seeing how they're getting on over there. It could be working with new ideas like your guys and your projects that you're doing. And it could also be revisiting that have come and things that have been accepted into our project. So it's a very unique and diverse role, and one that I didn't apply for. I was asked if I could do it. So it's a very interesting way of reinventing the industry. But I will point out I'm a through and through geek. So it's kind of like a dream job, if you like.
Yeah, that's it. What are you doing today, then, Oliver? You're also doing this. What's your day today?
What's my day today? So already I've set up an imaginary classroom, if you like, and taken the imaginary classroom through the management console steps. So this is in anticipation of maybe producing some regular webinars that I'll be hosting on a weekly basis to take people through the fundamentals of Chrome and its benefits and Chromebooks, and then through into the Google Apps for Education section, and then also further on to management and how they sort of manage their devices and their fleets of devices. So it's been quite an interesting morning so far. Speaking to a rows and rows and rows of computers, and no real people there at all.
Oh, right, so you've got some real people here. It's, okay, that's Where are you? Are you at home or are you at Google? Or?
No, I'm at work. I'm in the office, or one of the offices. I'm in what I think it's called Bluebell, which is a little room, a little booth, that allows me to video conference with people.
Oh, yes.
See? And out there is our office.
Oh, yes. People working. Wow. Hopefully they're all on ChomeOS. They're back there. Are you at Victoria or at King's Cross?
I'm at Tottenham Court Road.
Oh yeah, the Tottenham Court Road. That's right. And I know that's you haven't moved into King's Cross yet, have you? That's good.
Not yet, no.
All right, that's cool. Thanks.
I'm not always in the office, as you know. Very rarely I'm in the office.
We must have a hangout soon with the guys. It was interesting last week. Last week was just Wednesday actually. We had a hangout, and Jan joined the hangout. She hadn't got into college yet. She was using her smartphone. She was sitting in the reception on her 3G, and she actually got a better deal than she did when she got into college using the college Wi-Fi. I'm always worried about because they are using the guest network, and there's a load of protocol restrictions on the guest network. Hangouts uses strange. Is that you? Who's that? Anyway, never mind. Uses some strange protocol conventions that we normally block for security. So we've done our best to open those up. I'm not always convinced that it's going to work on the guest network. So it's actually pretty impressive. Thanks, Jan and Amit, for using the guest network at the college. So that pretty much.
It's cool anytime, man.
Yeah, that's cool. We're interested to see what we get on with next week. It's kind of expanding a bit faster than I thought because we're already on to the staff one. We've just got to get more machines. One thing I like, Ollie, about Chromium is which we haven't talked about yet, and I think Amit came up with the idea of, what was that? Not the Chromium Chronicles, the restoration, the restoration age. Maybe it's called a Renaissance age, but it's bringing old equipment back. So the green agenda, welcome back, old XP friend, but now you're faster and quicker and more secure, running on Chromium. It's one thing ChomeOS won't do for you, but
I think that's a really nice. It's definitely a very romantic sort of scenario to make because as our old technology becomes almost obsolete due to its previous operating system owner, it can be revamped and revitalized with these newer operating systems. I totally agree with that. I think that's a lovely way to put it. You must always keep your feet on the ground with this, though, and the idea of having it a nice, free and all happy environment can only be achieved at the moment through verified versions of the operating system. Again, I come back to it. I've loved Chromium, and I've been using it. I haven't used it for maybe 2 years now, but I had Chromium when it was an original project, and it's a great device. But remember, it's not an official Google product in any way. We don't endorse it in any way. We just support it. And things like security are not 100% on that device, on that operating system. Things like its speed has a tendency to fluctuate a lot. So what may be fast one day may slow it down the next. So when I looked, the interest I have is I'd like to see where you're going to take it, because at the moment I haven't seen any operational use for it, and it's great as a test bed, as I said, but the operational use is really interesting, how you guys are going to use it, whether you're going to bring it down to just maybe a few applications, or whether you're going to burst it wide open and let it loose on anything that it needs to. So when we talk about, even when you regenerate your old devices, when you bring those back to life, the Chrome, the sort of marriage between the OS and the hardware is such an important one. And just because an operating system works on a certain device does not mean it's optimized to run on that. So where you might see definitely with Chrome OS and Chromebooks, but also with Apple and OS X, their devices use hardware specifically for the operating system, because the optimization that can be had through using certain memory DIMMs maybe, or certain graphics cards, or certain motherboards, all of that adds to the security and the speed and efficiency of the device. So we can put Windows on a Mac, and we can put OS X on a PC. However, they don't run anywhere near at the speeds or levels that they should do.
What we might do, Oliver, because the ideas of this are evolving all the time, we might try and write drivers for ChomeOS. I'm not sure if we can involve the IT students there. It's only got at least one really good programmer in my team that may help support the project by writing drivers for and feeding back into the open source project themselves. But it'd be quite nice thing for the IT students to do, is to write the drivers for the hardware. We found some versions of hardware where it works really quite nicely. I can ask you, on the restoration thing, have you had any experience of the Google Motorola phone?
Sorry, the what?
The Motorola phone is, I can't remember what you call it, but Google's phone that is modular. And,
I know what you mean, yeah.
You can see parts of it. And maybe the idea here, we're talking about the Chromium, reusing old bits and stuff like that. I quite like the idea of that phone, where maybe you don't have to keep buying like your 50 megapixel. What was it? What was your phone?
An Oppo.
Oppo, 50 megapixel Oppo. Maybe that's the trouble. That's all integrated, these things. Maybe you could I'll just have another camera and a CPU, and upgrade my camera from 50 megapixels to 100 megapixels. Have you had any experience of that?
I believe is it Project Ari that you're thinking of?
I can't remember the name of it. No.
Well, what it is there's an initiative, it's called Project Ari. It's basically to provide an endoskeleton for a smartphone, and then you can replace that with modular parts if you wanted to. So the idea of you being able to change the camera or the processor, that's something that's coming in. I think it's a great idea. I think it's going to revolutionise the phone world anyway, because obviously so many people want certain types of phones. Not everyone wants a top-end phone, but and most people and some people want the top-end phone. So yeah, it gives you just that huge amount of choice. Again, I've not seen any of that, so I can't really comment on that at all. But
yeah, it just seemed relevant to what we're thinking about with this project. That maybe you don't want your 50 megapixel camera item, so I'll have that, and you buy yourself a new 100 megapixel. Wonder who's going to be first to 100 megapixels. I just had an idea. Oh, sorry, Oliver, you've done.
No, no, no. I was going to say, I mean, the concept behind it, it has similar sort of traits to where you want to go with your computing. However, you will notice that with the Project Ara, the components will be optimized to work with Android, and Android vice versa will be optimized to work with just those components. So even though you provide different speeds or different apertures or different megapixels, they'll all be from one manufacturer. So whereas the experiment you guys are doing, where you're actually taking certain different types of technology and trying it out with an operating system across the board, this will be a very it'll obviously be very optimized, and it'll also be very in key and in line, because obviously you don't want to buy the wrong DIMM of memory and your phone doesn't work. It's the point of it is still, it gives you the choice of how big or how small you want to be, but it also keeps you going with that security and that stability, and obviously that speed as well.
It'd be pretty interesting if that project works with Firefox OS. Firefox. Do you know about the? Have you? I suppose I shouldn't be talking about this. The other things do just. Have you seen the Firefox project?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen it in front of me yet. I'm not sure how it's going. I know it came out on a phone or maybe 2 phones, but yeah, I think the idea between multiple operating systems being out there. Remember, they're still built on the same technology that's already out there at the moment. None of them are actually breaking any ground at the moment. They're just using what has been created and jumping up. But they're all potentially great products.
Oh.
Okay. Just click into this. I was going to say, sorry. It's interesting as Google get in. The way I characterised what's going on a few years ago was Google were descending from the clouds, and Microsoft is trying to rise up from the earth. And it's interesting as Google get far more involved with hardware, how the narrative changes a little bit. But once upon a time, Google didn't really care about hardware at all. You were just software. You only had, Chrome as the browser, and it would run on anything. But now you're getting very, very, I wouldn't say traditional, but you're getting very picky about, again, very much like Apple, it sounds to me, about verified code, verified hardware, a bit like we used to see probably in the 90s at least, when we had Intel and Microsoft stickers on hardware, to make sure it was all safe, as it were. And I'm just interested. A lot of people, I've seen that in the industry and in the news, and the comments from IT journalists talking about how Google are now they've been talking about software eating the world, haven't they? Software eating hardware. And now, so I've got this imagery of like Google's got the hardware stuck in its mouth in a way. You've got the watch, you've got the Chrome books, you've got Chrome blocks, and you've got the Google Glass. You're reaching out from the software into the hardware, and you've got the problems that you've always had with the hardware, that Microsoft used to have in the 90s, with verified drivers and stuff like that. So I remember the abstraction layers that were put in to try and you didn't put so much to the specific device, but you talk to an abstraction layer more. Anyway, I waffle and digress. But it just struck me. A lot of the things you were saying, Oliver, were about the verified platforms, which is very true.
Google, well, it's not a verified platform so much as a verified boot, which is a feature of a device, really. I mean, I can't speak for Google. I don't know where they'll be going. But what I can say, I suppose, is that this is not. If you look at when you talked about all those different devices, they're not built by Google. They're still built by Samsung or Acer or HP and LG, and that's whether it's a watch or whether it's a Chromebook. And I think what you might be confusing with like taking over the hardware thing is we want people to have a better experience across the board, and if that means we can have a help in designing something that will actually help people achieve their goals better. So for education, for example, the reason why the Chromebooks are so suited for education is because of their security, as well as their versatility.
Yeah.
And we don't dictate to Samsung how it looks. We don't tell HP it's got to look like this. We just say we have an operating system that is safe, that we know we can rely on, which is something you've not really had in the past. And if you think about, when you think about your Apple and your abstraction layers and your Windows and your levels of engineering on that side, we're talking 25 years down the line, and not one of those operating systems has done anything to maybe quell the virus problem. That's where you look at Google taking a stance, and there's nothing. I think that's great, and hopefully, I mean, we talk about Microsoft working their way up. Well, not really. They've had Hotmail for a long time. That's always been cloud-based. You know, the same with any other email provider. We only have to look outside the box to see that the cloud is not a new thing. And sure, Google made their stance and their stamp on the world by creating a server or a search engine. But the point would be is you forget that there is a lot of other people out there that have been doing this just as much. It's just about how you can imagine and how you can take it to the next level. So people like Linux or having Linux servers, these are big things across the world that are used all the time. It's not just down to one. We get too blindfolded by what we don't like, and that's the problem. So if you don't like something, you remember it too much, and then you try not to do the same again. However,
the history repeating itself. I keep thinking. So I was going to go on Linux. It was interesting to see that Linux. So what I was reading the other day, Linux is now responsible for 95% of the world's fastest computers. And strangely, on that news story, there was Google Cloud data secret. I'm not sure where that fits in.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, there's places to be with all of this, and it's I think when we look at how things are evolving, I'm excited. I can't wait to see what happens next.
I just had an idea, Rose, a couple of minutes ago. Amit and Jan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're still there. I was just thinking,
Hello?
you've been, oh, you can't hear me very well. I'll try and shout. You've been
Okay.
using, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Just barely.
All right. You've been using Raspberry Pi. That's got Linux on it. Would you be able to put Chromium on it?
On the Raspberry Pi?
Yeah.
No, because the Raspberry Pi doesn't have any built-in internet features. Because it's not always connected to the internet. It doesn't have any built-in Wi-Fi or anything like that. So at present, it's able to run anything like Chromium. It's actually built for more lightweight operating systems, things that are very small and the same.
Yeah, that's a good correction. I was getting carried away there. You're absolutely right. Yeah, because Chrome is designed as a web-based operating system for the web age, and it relies, doesn't it, on the internet being available. With its offline use, it's not really that viable. Yeah, so yeah, maybe that was a dead end. Dead end live online.
But you have to remember, you're still looking too much as we used to look at. We can still use an operating system like ChromeOS to control a Raspberry Pi device. It doesn't have to work the other way around all the time. So putting stuff on things, that's the 1990s.
Yeah,
having stuff available to things, that's where you should be going. So sure, Raspberry Pi might be better for a lightweight environment or a lightweight OS on there. That doesn't mean you can't use a web-based facility to control that.
Oh yeah, they were. Yeah, so last year, Raspberry Pi students, and the direct discussion with me this week, Jan, we're talking about having a web-based camera on it and having a web server on the Raspberry Pi and controlling it across the net and having a camera on it so you can see where it's going and stuff like that. So yeah, they did that last year, and you're right, Oliver. Yeah, you can have web-based operation on the Raspberry Pi, but yeah, I think maybe yeah, putting Chromium and multipass probably, yeah, it's not necessarily viable. I might find out more about that, but probably not the right step. Certainly, when you get into tangible things like hardware, it starts to get a bit messy. It's yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure where that's. But everybody's getting into that. It's inevitable. All right. Anybody want to say anything more?
No.
Okay, we're all right.
How are your devices?
Oh, sorry, Oliver.
I was
Your
just saying,
device.
how are your devices going?
You know, your laptop.
Oh.
Yeah.
Anybody?
I think the computers that you got set up the other day. I wasn't there. Remember?
The one in the library. The one in the library. Yeah, it's working fine, but there was a bit of a problem. When you shut it down, when you try to shut it down, it boots up again, like automatically. It doesn't really shut it down.
Yeah.
Like completely. So that's just it, and it's works smoothly, very fast, and yeah, that's the only issue
Okay.
that we had.
It's an off.
We did have somebody who sent me an email from it yesterday. Our first user, Paul Carey, that was walking around the learning centre and said, "Oh, what are these?" he managed to log in and he sent me an email from it, and he said, "I didn't quite realise what I was doing, but it worked." So you've had one kind of build it and they will come type of experience, because they've not been released yet. You know, they've just been left. This is one of the things I fancy doing, actually. They're just leaving stuff about and seeing, you know, who can pick it up and have a go without any training. But the official release and launch, as it were, is next week. But we've already had somebody walk up to it and have a go.
Have you contacted the Chromium forums as well and let them know what you're doing?
I haven't yet. I've given them a link. There's one.
You should all become a member of the forum. All of you jump in and become a member of the forum, and sort of just, if you want to do it in line with your announcement next week, do so. But just say this is what we're doing and this is our idea. Any help and support is greatly appreciated.
The Google Plus community for Chromium.
Yeah, Google Plus is good, but remember, what you're working with is an unfinished project that is in many splinters, and the Google Plus community is not where the Chromium guys jump into first. They'll jump into the Chromium project first, which will be their own. They have their own sort of site and everything. They will have stuff to follow them on Google Plus and Twitter and Facebook, and by all means use those to keep up to date. But to create an announcement or to create a little bit of support for you guys, I think it would be really worth you getting in there and saying, hey, we are so and so, this is what we're doing, we'll keep everyone updated. Just start a post and get some photos done of them, everything starting up. Make sure you document everything. It's a great place to showcase your work. It's a fantastic opportunity to showcase your work.
I think that's something for them to research for next week. They've got the links to Francois Buffo. I'm not sure he still works at Google, but he's got his own Chromium page. But we've been using Arnold the Bat's builds, but Francois does the builds less frequently. They're pretty more stable, but they're more restricted than what they've been working on. Okay, guys, that's been. Thank you very much, Oliver, for spending time.
Thanks for inviting me.
And giving us really great information. Oh, we've got all yellow again there. And giving us all the great information from Google. So, bye-bye, everybody.
See ya.
Bye.
Take care, guys.
Bye. See ya.